Hello and welcome to another 31 Days of Horror 2015 segment, Toronto After Dark edition. That's right. We're almost done, but we've got another film after this to cover, but this time I'm talking about the film called Patchwork. This is a Canadian film that's kind of a retelling of the Frankenstein story. It's essentially... It's a comedy horror, a little bit of a gore fest. Essentially, it's the story of three girls who, while out, they didn't know each other, complete strangers, while out partying, get essentially chosen, taken apart, and then put together to form one person. And the difference here is they are all in this body. So their fate, the head of this new creature is actually formed from all three other heads, and all three of their consciousnesses are inside, and they all control the different body parts that originally came from them, type thing. So you can totally understand why there's a lot of slapstick comedy in here. Very much sort of some of the Evil Dead vibe, or Evil Dead 2 I guess vibes, with Bruce Campbell and the hand that has a mind of its own type stuff. A lot of that kind of stuff going in there. A lot of trying to learn how to deal with each other and deal with how to function as this new creature, and essentially solve what happened. And so yeah, it's actually very, very good. It's very well done, highly enjoyable. It's directed by a Canadian, Tyler McIntyre, who is mostly known as an editor, but he's mostly only done short films. He's directed a few, he's edited a whole bunch of them, and that's where his mainstay is. But he is somebody who has a little bit of skill, obviously, in that department, and it shows in this film because he really manages to pull it off. I believe the three girls are played by, first one's Tori Stolper, who is sort of like the main one. I think she is the actress who played the actual creature. So all of the prosthetics and stuff and the makeup effects are done to her, I believe. I believe that's who it was. And she's pretty much an unknown. This is really her... It's not her first feature, but it kind of is. Another of the three lovely ladies who make up this monster is someone by the name of Tracy Faraway, who had a part, you probably won't remember, but she had the part of Emma Craven from Hellraiser Revelations back in like 2011. And yeah, so I mean, other than that, I don't know anything else that she's done. She hasn't done a lot, but she has some acting experience, so that's always a nice thing when it comes to these types of films. Next up would be Mario Blasucci, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, who, again, not really into anything I've ever seen before, but she does have a variety of works that she's worked on, from short films to televisions to films and stuff like that. Not a lot, but enough to have some experience. So it's actually odd that of the three girls, it was the one who had the least amount of experience who was essentially playing the main role of the monster. But obviously, in her audition, she just nailed it, right? So it's always nice. Two other people who are in this film that I figure I should mention are Eric Edelstein, who is one of the guys. He plays a small part in this film. he had a part in The Hills Have Eyes 2 from 2007, not the original one way back when. But what was the other thing he had already? He was also in... Oh yeah, he had a small part in was it Jurassic World? But what I found awesome that I didn't know from watching the movie, but he voiced Bob, or B.O.B., from the Monsters vs. Aliens television series. I don't think he did the voice in the movie, but if you've watched the spin-off television series on television, he is Bob, or the voice of, at least, which is pretty cool. And then there's one other person I have to mention. He's a man who has managed to get some fame, and that's James Phelps. He is the man, the one and only Fred Weasley from the Harry Potter movies. He is in this film. And he played... I'm not going to even mention it. You're going to have to watch this movie to see who he is, what he does in this film. Just in case any Harry Potter fans are watching this right now. You want to know what Mr. Weasley, Fred Weasley, does in a movie about 3 women grafted together to form a Frankenstein woman type creature? You're going to have to watch Patchwork. And honestly, go for it. It is not perfect. It is not great, but it is fun and it is enjoyable. And honestly, when it comes to these type of films, that's the number one criteria for me. The story is decent. It's worthwhile. Everything there is above media. Like the middle. It's above the median in terms of quality. Between the makeup effects are great. All the gore work and the body parts and all that kind of stuff. The acting, it really works in terms of the personalities fighting and the girls all trying to figure out and deal with this situation. And the story, the writing, I think Tyler McIntyre is one of the writers, and then there's another one called Chris Lee Hill was also one of the writers. Again, I've never heard of him, so I didn't really mention him at the beginning. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It was a very enjoyable watch, and I would recommend, if you're into horror, if a new take on the Frankenstein story and multiple personalities clashing inside of a monster female is at all interesting to you, check out Patchwork. I'll give it my seal of approval. It's worth checking out. If it, is it worth buying? Maybe. Depends. See, I'm not a big comedy person, but if you're into comedy and horror and the blend of the two, and you like gore, something that's not a zombie flick, because that's usually what they are, oddly enough, seems like comedy, horror, gore movies are all zombie movies, but this is not. Though, I guess it's kind of like, she is... I guess she's undead in a way, right? But not a zombie. Definitely not. Don't call him a zombie. She's not a zombie. At least I wouldn't consider her a zombie. But widen the definition. Maybe it is a zombie movie or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, if that's something that you're really into, I think Patchwork is definitely down your alley. It's right. It's what you're looking for. Something new, something different, but still funny, still horror, still gory, and yeah, it works. I'm thinking women may get a little bit more from this, because it is sort of like a revenge film. I think they may get a little bit more from that banter between the 3 ladies and their personalities, but then again, who knows? I don't know. From my perspective, I still enjoyed it. I didn't have a problem with anything they said or did or anything that was portrayed in this film. But again, I'm not female, so I can't really give that, comment on that perspective. But at the same time, I didn't see anything truly outrageous. No, this isn't about Jem. nothing really, nothing hit me over the head that I found either offensive or, well, outside of the fact that 3 women are drugged, killed, and, like, put back together, whatever. Other than that aspect, I guess that one, the main story, Rob, think about it. It's kind of against women. Well, yeah, I guess there is violence against women in this film, so I think that's pretty obvious when you say 3 women, who don't know each other are essentially drugged, kidnapped, killed, and then put back together. I think it's pretty assumed that that's, you know what you're getting into when you go into it. But it is played, like I said, light. It's played comedic. It's not played heavy or dirty or, there's no malice really in the film. So you can't really go down that route. It's not like that at all, despite the subject matter. It's not an I spit on your grave type thing, right? This is a lighthearted comedy, slapstick Frankenstein movie. It just happens to be that it's women who end up in the situation, and that's part of the whole comedic elements that they were going for, clearly. So, again, I've gone off on sort of a tangent and a little bit of a ramble here, but I think you get the idea. Again, the film is called Patchwork, directed by Tyler McIntyre. I'll give it a recommend. If you happen to find it, whether it be, DVD, Blu-ray, or video on demand, check it out. It's worthwhile looking at too. And I'm not just talking when you have nothing better else, to watch. No, this is something that you throw on and you give it a go. If you don't like it, you'll know right away. If you do like it, hey, let me know. Anyways, that will be the end of this video and the end of this 31 Days of Horror 2015 Toronto After Dark Film Festival segment. Until next time, take care. Have a good